Hi, friends. Today we're going to talk about conferring with students. Now, as part of this whole teaching writing thing, a lot of people like to start at different places. Some people start with teaching the writing process. I like to start with figuring out where the student is first and then using that to work backwards and kind of build my lessons. So, what we're going to do today is we are going to confer with Jonathan about Jack and the Beanstalk, which he decided to tell from the giant side. Okay, give us a different perspective on the story. Okay, so now is really a good part for you to pause it. Go ahead, take a second and read through the story, and then we will come back and we'll talk about what this conferring piece looks like. Okay, so let's assume we have actually read the story. And now we're getting to the part where we just want to have some discussion. Now, guys, here's where I want us to be careful. There are a couple of things we want to do pretty immediately when we're meeting with a student. We want to start with something positive, okay? And I start with, I really liked that dot, dot, dot. And then I want to point out something positive that Jonathan has done. So in this case, I really like that Jonathan kept a part of the story from the original, and that is the part about the golden eggs. That to me is a good part of the story, so I like that he kept that in there. Another thing that I really liked, that Jonathan kind of gave me the conclusion here, right? So this whole thing kind of got started over some beans, and then there was this egg and these golden eggs, and I see that's where it ended. So I really like that Jonathan gave me that information. Okay, great things. Now that I've talked about what I liked, the next thing that I want to do is talk about what I wonder, because there are things that I still have questions about. So here were my wonders. I wondered what stuff Jonathan is referring to. See, like here, he uses stuff, right? There was once a boy named Jack who wanted all of my stuff. And then here, he came in and tried to steal all of my stuff. What stuff? I want to know what stuff Jack tried to take from him. And then here's the other thing I was wondering. I was wondering how Jonathan felt when Jack showed up at his house. Like what was he thinking? I need some feeling, some emotion. I want to feel like I'm seeing this giant. So those are some of the things that I'm wondering. And once I've told the student what I'm wondering, then last but not least, I'm going to give them a suggestion. And it's going to come in the form of a, hey, you might want to consider. Okay, now let's stop here a second, friends, and let's talk about why that's so important. You see, if I come in and I start talking about what Jonathan needs to do and what he has to do and what I think sounds better, then what happens is this is no longer Jonathan's paper. It becomes my paper. Friends, it becomes your paper. And we want to make sure that our students maintain ownership, okay? So for Jonathan, I'm going to say, hey, Jonathan, you may want to consider telling me more about the giant. Like how he's feeling as each of these things are happening. What is he saying? Now, we know from the teacher's perspective, I'm encouraging him to do what? Use more dialogue. And then here, you might want to consider thinking about what things might be different from the original version. So for me, I love this, and I love that it sticks so closely to the original. But here's a thought. What if you didn't? What if you change some things in here because you feel like, from the giant's perspective, it would be different? Okay? So that's just kind of my advice. So let's run through it one more time. I'm going to start with I really liked, because I want to encourage the student and I want to talk about what I genuinely liked. Then I'm going to go into I was wondering. And those are the questions that I sincerely have about what I'm reading. And then last but not least, you might, and I have to emphasize might, you might want to consider. And in that way, I've approached the student in a way that's going to help them really bring out their best writing selves. Until next time, friends, write on.